So, good morning. It is not Friday. It's Rosh Chodesh, but it is Thursday. So, recording this before I get on the plane, leaving Thursday night back to Eretz Yisrael. School year starts already. It's Rosh Chodesh El. In America, we have a couple of weeks to go for the summer, but not Eretz Yisrael. So, leaving Staten Island and flying back from Newark with my son later this evening. Hopefully we'll get to send this before Shabbos, if I remember to do this either on the plane or before the plane, but tonight we'll get this out. So, one of my favorite, as I'm leaving, on a journey, it comes in this parsha, my favorite mitzvah. I think it's my favorite mitzvah. Um, egla arufa is my favorite mitzvah. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's just, um, you know, accompanying people, mimalava people, welcoming people, taking care of their needs. It just comes a little bit natural to me, I guess. Even though Ali Shur would say, all mitzvahs, you shouldn't really take such a personal interest in mitzvahs. They're all equally important, and you're following Hashem. Any hana you have from it is really secondary to the real purpose of a mitzvah is doing what Hashem wants. Okay, but that being said, there's a lot of different layers of egla arufa, and each year I'm happy to say that I learned something a little bit different, another insight, whether it's another Gemara that talks about it, whether it's a Sefer that talks about egla arufa. So a couple of different layers to it that I really enjoy and learn from it. Maybe this year Shavuos, I think someone asked me to give one of the classes on Shavuos night, and I turned them down enough time to prepare. But the thing I think I'd like to speak about maybe next year Shavuos, if they ask me again, if they will in our shul, egla arufa. So what is it? So they find a dead person on the road. They don't know who it is, and they don't know who killed him either. And they measure where exactly this person's from, which city he's closest to, and the Sanhedrin comes. Either maybe the Mepharshim say maybe the king, or maybe the Kohen Gadol comes, and they do a tefillah. They push the animal off the cliff, and they say our hands weren't responsible. And literally, it's kind of, they bring us to a special area where there's no work being done, and it's a whole procedure. Rabbeinu Bachaya says that they let the cow try to find the person, which is also very interesting and kind of strange. And if it's a miracle, the cow actually goes out and tries to find the killer. And I saw this week, there's another Or Chaim that Rabbeinu Bachaya, who says that it's a worm, rima, that this worm comes out either from the dead person or from the egla, the cow, and his worm comes out and tries to find the killer, and it goes on the person. It's a whole very interesting thing. But either way, what's the purposes? They measure. So Sanhedrin says we didn't send this person away without food. We weren't the ones who didn't escort him. And what's the big deal of that? So unlike the old days, unlike now, where you kind of have an airplane, you have a car, you have rest stops along the way. In the old days, you didn't have these things. You had robbers, you had bandits, you had pirates on the road or in the water, I guess. So to leave somebody and to go leaving someone's house, leave their city, was dangerous. The Sefer called Kaf HaChaim, Rav Chaim Pelagi from Smyrna, not Georgia, Smyrna, Turkey, from about 200 years ago, talks about that. It's really horrible to send someone out, on the road, deserts, only if you have a mitzvah. Going to Yisrael is different. Going to a mitzvah, going to a wedding, Talmud Torah, then you have a shluchim mitzvah and zokin. But just to go on the road is dangerous. You can't send somebody. You can really put your life in danger. So with that in mind, if you send somebody without food and without malave, two things are taking place. One of them, I understood originally, is the person He's a robber on the road. He sees this guy's by himself. No one was with him to send him off. So it means no one cares if I kill him or not, or take his stuff. Easy. He's an easy mark. Someone who has a whole bunch of people that are following him or malava him from the city, that person, maybe he knows the government, maybe he's an important person. If I hassle him, I'll get in trouble. So I'll stay with that guy. But one dude, they just left him on the road. He's by himself. No one's with him. No one escorted him out of the city. He's an easy mark. That's one. I thought that was the first. That's one shot. The other shot I saw in the Gemara more recently is that you send a guy without food and water. So now this person has to go to dangerous places to find food and water. So if he has food, he can just travel to X to Y to go to Z and all those places, but on the main road. But now, if he doesn't have any food or water, you didn't send him with him anything. He has to now go into the woods. He has to go into the forest to try to find an animal, maybe eat something that's poisonous, maybe find bandits, and that's the danger. That's the danger. So it's not just him being in trouble, but now he has to go to places that are problematic. Another interesting layer I saw in the parsha this week is Targum Yonason says that the reason why we measure is Mishum Aguna, which is another layer onto this, which I didn't really know existed either until I saw it 2 days ago, is that even though we know which city the person's from, they measure between two cities to see which city brings this egla arufa. So if it's between Brooklyn and Staten Island, so the guy's dead literally on the Verrazano. So it's closer to Staten Island than Brooklyn. Why do I have to measure this? No, the point is to make a whole, to bring witnesses, bring a Sanhedrin, they measure. They want to really try to understand what the situation is and can we identify this person. Because for someone who's dead on the road, there's a good chance that there's a wife waiting for him somewhere. And if we just let this guy, we bury him and don't do anything, then this woman can't get remarried. Mishum Aguna. So because of Aguna, we don't want this woman just to have nothing or to not be able to remarry, or his children. Maybe his children are supposed to get this inheritance, and if the person is not dead, we don't know it, that the Baal Chov can come, the Bezdin can come, they can distribute it. So we really have to try to find out who this person is. Maybe not so much at this point as who killed him, but we want to try to find who this person is, because if we can identify this person, you know what? Oh, there's the egla arufa taking place. You know what? This guy's missing. Let's go find this person. Let's go see who this person is. Then we can identify him. We have witnesses who knew who he was. You know what? He left this town at this date. He's supposed to be here. I think this is the guy. So they can identify the missing person, and because of that, the woman is not naguna. Shalom Yisrael. The other layer that I found is the Rambam says in Hilchas Evel is that there's mitzvahs to, rabbinic mitzvahs to lakacholim, boom, on the guise of hatrecha kamocha, to loving someone. There's different mitzvahs that take place that you actually, we learn from there. So bakachola doesn't say in the Torah, but it's an offshoot, it's the Rabbanon of hatrecha kamocha. Atzos hameis, chanasas orchim, chanasas kala, nachem avelim. But Levia, according to Rambam, Perek Yudalad, Levia, accompanying somebody, meruba min hakol. So greater than visiting someone who's sick, greater than chanasas arachim, greater than levayas hameis. More than that is to be malava, a guest. Accompanying a person as they're leaving, like what? So according to the Kavachaim, makes a lot of sense, because the person's in grave danger. And by levavim, you can actually save his life. So that makes sense. But the Rambam goes a step further and says, not even it. Because Avram did this. Avram showed chesed. And it says, Imam holech imam l'shalcham. Holech imam l'shalcham. He went with them to do this. And the malachim weren't in any danger. They had food. they were angels, and they had each other. There are three of them. They weren't in danger of getting hurt, but Avram still went out of his way and escorted them. And the Rachai Pillage says, well, the Shekhinah goes with guests, with travelers. And I had no idea what this meant actually, and looked it up. And there's actually a medrash, there's a chizkuni, there's a few places that talk about this, that Hashem holech imam, Hashem went before the Jewish people. So we have the fact that Avram did this, which was a chiddush, that Avram did this even with that someone wasn't in danger. And the source of this, really, that the Shekhinah is with a person when they travels, is from the Medrash. That Hashem went for the people for 40 years in the Midbar. Hashem went before the people, Malava the people. So there's a special, another layer, that this is actually a huge mitzvah to gather someone, to accompany someone. And if you don't do this, according to Rambam, it's like you killed a person. And even Arba Amos is the mitzvah. Rebbe should be asked permission. So you want to leave your town, the Rebbe should ask. You should ask the Rav, can I leave? Ask people permission. Why is this? The people should daven for you. So in those days, it was so dangerous. There was an Inyan to ask permission of the Rav to leave town, because it was dangerous, and you needed some protection. So you needed the Rav to not just malava, or someone to be malava, but you need someone to really daven for you. So those are some of the lessons that we have from egla arufa, a lot of different layers to it. And fortunately, I'm not, at one point I was trying to do this, maybe when it came with the Gemara a few years ago, I was trying to do this, but now someone stays in my house past, 2 p.m. or something. If they don't want to leave, I'm going taking a Shabbos nap. But maybe going further, I'll try to be more didactic on this Inyan. And it's nothing to do with being dangerous. It's really Hashem went before a person. Take care of their needs. Maybe they need something for the road. In Eretz Yisrael, it's very hot, and so you ask someone for a bottle. Want a bottle of water when you leave, or a fruit or something. So very good. Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Next time we speak, I'll be in Eretz Yisrael, hopefully. Chodesh Tov.